Hello there, and welcome to Hammerman Attacks for today, November the 20th. 11:20 coming at you. It's a little different, I think, than the regular. So stage 1, I saw that it was like an all Zooka attack, and I was like, wow, this is actually really freaking cool because, boom! Pretty much guaranteed the flawless as long as you got range on the beach for your rocket launchers and your shock launchers and all the whatnots. I was actually seriously considering swapping out my layout just to ensure an even higher likelihood of a flawless, but I was like, yeah, nah, it's too much effort. Come on now. Too much work, not worth it. And it still worked out. It worked out fantastically, so I'm very excited about that. Now, stage 2, really nice because the first wave lands a little bit lower down and the second wave lands further up. You can really maximize your mines with the way these things drop. Like, put all your crazy heavy boom mines down on the south bit and all the other ones up on the north bit, and then the riflemen will run over the riflemen intended mines and the tanks will run over the boom mines, and then everybody gets to win and things die really, really fast. Moving on. Like, this is Boom 101. Hi, how's it going? This is how bombs and mines work. Stage 3, also still rocking pretty standard. I did get a little bit scared when I saw that there was going to be a bunch of riflemen followed by tanks followed by Zookas, because in my mind I envisioned like the slab of riflemen in front of the Zookas and the tanks, and the Zookas were just adding on the extra like crazy amounts of damage, and the tanks were just sitting there like keeping a constant strain of damage going. But it didn't work out that way at all for Hammerman, thank goodness, because like in my head I was like, wow, this might be kind of scary, like there's some crazy shit that can go on here. Good news is, as you can see, barely made it through the wall layer of my defenses, probably because they were such low level, but still, kind of like, scary, scary. Stage 4, back to like the bread and butter of this base layout with the warrior rifleman rush, where they've got to like work their way through the wall while they have just wave after wave of death dropped upon them. As you can see at the top there, everything is dead, and at the bottom, this is exactly how it's supposed to work with warriors. The warriors hit that wall, they start wrapping around, and your machine guns and your flamethrowers just go, open season, okay, if you insist, and like start just hammering away on them. Absolutely fantastic. Like, every time I see that working the way it's supposed to, it really does give me a warm, gooey feeling on the inside. Anyways, let's move on to the next stage. Stage number 5, which, if I remember correctly, stage number 5 is the rifle tank Gren. And again, this level really scared me when I first saw it, because I was like, oh crap, we're gonna have the cellophane wrapping layer of riflemen in front of the like crunchy outside of tanks with the gooey nougat center of grenadiers just bombing the crud out of everything that I can bring to bear. The good news is the first round of cellophane landed up on the top end of the beach and just got fried by everything, leaving the hard shell and the nougat core. And don't get me wrong, like you can see how the Grens are working the way they're supposed to be, aside from the fact that there's a couple Grens that are just kind of drifting off to the north and, you know, kind of making themselves really wide open to flying death. But look how good, like, all those Grens are completely full because all my defenses have been working on the tanks this entire time. It really does help give this attack some legs, because they would not get nearly that far if they didn't have the tanks to hide behind. Good news is, everything dies anyways. Bad news is, if you're a lower level, you're probably gonna want to, like, really put something out there to take care of those tanks. Otherwise, the Grens are going to own you. Alright. Now, I know you're probably looking and being like, didn't we have this 2 stages ago? A bunch of warriors and riflemen and everybody running around together? Yeah, as it turns out, stages 4 and 6 are pretty much identical. It's just the boost, obviously, that they get, and the number, and, well, I guess they're leveled. Okay, everything is different except for the troop composition, okay? So that's okay, because like I was saying, this is kind of the bread and butter of this base layout, and it works at every level. Like, it doesn't matter that these are now higher level. You can see the warriors strolling in there and getting caught up on the defensive layer, and then the machine guns and the flamethrowers just making work of them. And admittedly, because obviously they're higher level, they're doing more damage, they're taking more things down, like, it does get a little bit scarier. They start pushing in, especially because at this point we're still rocking the no ice and no prototypes for stage 6. And I actually got really scared. I was like, oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna bork stage 6. This is not cool. The good news is, I didn't bork it. Well, okay, I borked it once, which is why you can see I actually have a defense off in my, I guess, barrage corral. I don't know what you'd call that, but like out in the middle of nowhere where it's not going to hurt anything. Because my first attempt at this, I did flop, and I was like, oh, this is not cool. Partially because that barrage hit on like a key defense and like did some horrible things. Alright. Now, let's move on to Stage 7, which was by far the toughest Stage 7 we've seen in a while. Like, so hard that I actually had to drop the damage amp and the hot pocket, as you can see over there on the right-hand side. Now, I also kind of got hosed, and I'm sure this defense would have been a lot easier, but my hot pocket was selected as a target for the shock, which means if I put my hot pocket out towards the front where it would be the most effective, it ended up getting zapped, and then everything went to poop. So, even though I've got a weird setup, definitely throw your hot pocket out in front like you normally would and amp it up so that it'll like burn everything into the ground before it even hits your defenses. But if you run into a scenario where you have to kind of hide and protect the hot pocket, like I did this week, this is the sort of thing that can help you really make work of those troops. Because behind that layer of regular defenses, the hot pocket just stays out there frying those heavies while they slowly work their way in. Anyways, guys, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's been entertaining. And above all else, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day.